Okay, Google Outranking Share. Google Ads Outranking Share, we're going to talk about why this is a dumb metric, why, and what basically is Outranking Share specifically, and how that pertains to you making more money on your ads. So I'm going to give you some practical advice here as to whether or not you should pay any attention to this at all, which you can a little bit, but internet itself is a very dangerous metric in terms of what it can do to deceive you enough to push you into a general direction with your decision making with your ads, whether to run them more aggressively or not when you shouldn't be. And I'll go over what the details are behind that. In short, outranking share is the percentage of your time, not that your competitor outranks you, but you outrank your I made an error there. You outrank your competitor in the ad listings on your ad, of which doesn't have a whole lot of purpose, because the top ad, just so that you know up front, isn't the most highest converting ad spot. This is something that people used to talk about a lot in the day, and I don't hear many people talking about it anymore. That is, your third and fourth spots on the 4 ad spots at the top of Google will generally convert a good 50% better or so than the first ad spot, even though the first ad spot gets you the most clicks. The top ad spot will generally get, though, 2 to 3 times as many clicks as the third or fourth ad spot. So it's a trade-off. So whether or not you want to be in the first ad spot to basically outrank your competitor or not, more so doesn't come down to you don't, in other words, just don't want to outrank your competitor just for novelty's sake, if you were, or feel good about it, because you could actually be making all of your ads not even profitable once you've done that, even though you'll get a lot more sales volume. The reality is you got to know what your ROI that you're getting from your ads is before you are able to make a decision as to whether or not you want your outranking share to be higher than what it is already, okay? And so if you find out that your ROI needs to be, where you have to have an $8 in sales for every dollar in ad spend that you're spending to be baseline profitable after your main expenses in your business to be profitable with your ads, you find out you're at a 10 to 1, well, that's the time where, and if you're also showing in the third or fourth positions, that you should be able to bid higher on your keyword bids or adjust your target ROAS or your target CPA settings so it's more liberal, so that Google pushes you higher up in the list. And then with that, you'll get a lot more volume because you're now in the first position. That gets 2 to 3 times the click-through rate. But converts, instead of maybe at 5% as you were down here in number 3 spot on average, to number 1 spot you're converting at 3%. The 2.5 times more sales you're now getting, and not at a 10 to 1 return anymore, but an 8 to 1 was worth it. You're making almost twice as much money than you were before, even though the ROI is less. And that's, generally speaking, more so how you want to be thinking about whether you want your outranking share to be higher than it is already for what you see in your auction insights menu of your ad account. So under auction insights, you want to be, so in other words, until you have hit your minimum ROI that you need to be profitable, you want your outranking share to be higher and higher for the most part. Now, there are some caveats to this that I do want to talk about that makes it a dumb metric to look at in and itself in a vacuum. And that is, every person that comes to Google is going to convert a little bit differently for you. So let's say you're targeting the keyword red shoes for your campaigns because you sell red shoes, okay? With that, there are plenty of times where you're not going to want to outrank your competitor for that keyword red shoes in the search results, or even show up at all. With red shoes, you may sell female red shoes, and then what Google will find out, because they sub-segment the type of people that search for red shoes on an ongoing basis thousands of times to identify the trends within it. They find out that a female converts 3 times the rate as a male does that searches for red shoes. So in that case, if it's a male person who searched for red shoes, you should actually, because it already converts much less on average overall, you should actually be in that 4th spot instead of in the 1st spot. Whereas if it were a female searching for red shoes, you want to be in the 1st spot because it converts at a very, very high rate. So therefore, that's a perfect example why you don't want 100% outranking share necessarily. So it's a vanity metric that you can use as a secondary point of reference to kind of see, yeah, your competitor ranks higher. Maybe if they're tracking everything correctly and they're not, it's smart money that you may be missing out on something, but it's more likely that chasing that, if your ROI isn't already way above average, that you're going to be losing money. You're going to end up with less profit than you had before before you made a change to show up higher in this list. And with that, I manage and audit lots of ad accounts at my agency, my ad agency, on an ongoing basis. I can tell you more than half of advertisers on Google Ads don't even track the results, and they are not making any money. They don't, they got bit profit coming in from this other source over here. Google Ads doesn't even make any money. So therefore, you're trying to chase somebody who's not making money. And then now suddenly you're not both making money. Google's the only one that wins. So therefore, the outranking share in and itself, just to beat the competitor for beating the competitor's sake, that isn't a smart move in and itself to do. So, though, if your ROI that you have on your account is higher than what you know you need to be at to be profitable, then more than likely it would make sense to bid more in terms of keyword bids, or taking your target ROAS and lowering it a little bit so that your ads run a little bit more aggressively. Google runs your ads a little bit more aggressively, or take the target CPA that you have and raising it a little bit so that you show up a higher percentage of the time, higher in this list to get a higher percentage of the clicks, and you end up with more profit for your company as through your Google Ads at the end of the day. If you're wondering why, by the way, somebody does not convert as well in that 1st position as they do in the 3rd, 4th position, it's because half the people roughly that use Google, they type in what they want to type in, and they don't read the ads before they click. They just assume whatever Google shows is what they wanted, and they're going to click through. So if you're not showing up for only the people that could buy your product or service and think it's the best, you're throwing money away, and therefore why your conversion rate is going to be less in that 1st position than the 3rd. Now, your goal ultimately should be to use, the type of stuff that I talk about on this channel to do targeting really well with your ads. That is, if there were no words on your ad, you could still make money because every single person who clicks through is the right person to get to your site. That conversion rate doesn't have to be much less than what it would be in the 3rd or 4th position you might be at now, but it generally is always going to be somewhat less, and probably a lot less than what you have, because your targeting isn't just flawless like most people's isn't, because of their setup that they're using on average. And I know that because I've audited enough accounts that I know targeting isn't perfect in 99% of the cases. So the person's not going to read your ad. They're not going to want what you have to offer in the ad. They're going to click through and then not realize it until they get to your site, or after they call your salesperson and waste their time on top of it. So, and the reason why the click-through rate is higher in that top position is because people naturally, the first one they're going to see on average is the first ad, and because only half the people read the ad, they just click on the first thing they see because they think Google should do all the work of thinking for them. That ad ends up getting 2 or 3 times the click-through rate than the 3rd or 4th position does for that, for the same reasons, in other words. So anyway, that is why there's so much of discrepancy and difference in how much you can make and clicks you're going to get and all that from, depending on where you show up in these top 4 ad spots. But also why you don't necessarily always would want 100% outranking share, because it doesn't always necessarily translate into more actual profit to your business. Now, as a side thing, position above, and outranking share is showing in the auction insights menu in your account Also, you will notice if you're in an auction insights, position above rate. Now, if you're wondering what the difference between those two are, position above rate is going to be the percentage of the time you rank above the competitor, not outranking share, or excuse me, outranking share is the percentage of the time you outrank the competitor. Position above is going to be the percentage of the time the competitor outranks you. Okay? So they're basically inverse of one another. And so in retrospect, they're basically telling you the same thing. They're just an inverse of each other. Also wanted to point this out. And the position above, outranking share, tell you that it's basically the same thing. It's a secondary piece of information you can use to see maybe if you're missing out on something, but really you got to be checking over where you're at with your ads profitability before you're going to make a move. Conversely, if you're not at an ROI that you want, you can change your target ROAS so it's going for a higher number, because target ROAS just works like a knob in terms of how aggressively your ad's going to run, and end up going lower in the list, get a higher conversion rate. Now your ROI is going to be better because of that, but you'll start getting less clicks. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out in terms of outranking share, what it is, what it's about. If you have any questions about anything I covered here today, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days. If you have any ad-related question, feel free to leave a comment and ask. I love giving back to everybody who asks a question in the comment section on this channel as a way of just giving back and saying thank you for watching this channel. If you are going to pay attention to any information at all on YouTube, and you like the information you see, you should subscribe to this channel, as it has real information on how to make millions of dollars with online advertising for your business, coming from somebody who does nothing all day long but just ad strategy for clients. Not a YouTuber who's just talking about the theories of this and that, or what's going on, or a course seller. It's real information coming from somebody who's actually doing it in the trenches. Doing it. Therefore, it's actual valid information that will actually make you money, and you should therefore pay attention to. So you should subscribe. You should also check out my blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog. It has my written work, which I promise you, if you like the channel, you're going to like my written work even more. I also have a column that I'll maintain over at entrepreneur.com if you like my written work. As a side, I run an ad agency, as I mentioned a couple times in this video, of which we can guarantee results on your campaigns before you pay our agency or need to pay our agency. That is, if we know we can get good results on your campaigns, we'll tell you how much more profit we can make from our strategies, applying them to your ads or your situation or starting up a campaign. And if we don't hit the minimum mark that you're looking for, we don't charge a fee. The only catch is we're not going to be working on anything we don't know we can't get great results with up front. But if we can get great results, we'd love to work with you. And at the very least, you should reach out to us and get our free assessment that we offer. We can tell you about roughly what we can get on your account after taking a look at what you have. So if you're interested in that assessment, you can reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com. I'd be more than happy to go over what can be done with your campaigns with you, as mentioned. As a side, if you're not looking to work with an ad agency though, and you want to shortcut your way to success, I've worked in over 100 different industry/niches before, and if we've worked in your space before, you can simply buy the templates that we've developed for your industry. And there's a lot of industries, like in plumbing, we spent millions of dollars optimizing ads in that space, of which, if you're a plumber, instead of figuring out all the stuff and doing all the work to do like what I talk about on this channel, you could just take the ads, the landing pages, all of it, the campaigns that work for your industry already, and just copy and paste them into your account and get the same results we were getting in a different geographic market. So as long as you're not in the same geographic market as our client or past client, you can use it in your market. You can use these templates to even start other businesses. We've got people that wanted to start another business, get into e-com. They picked a template that works for an e-com product that you can easily source from China. Now they have an e-commerce business. It's like starting a business with training wheels. Starting with a sales funnel that works for a market, that makes it almost assured you will make money. Knowing what your results you can expect from it, all that up front. So we could tell you what results you would get with the template, what results we would have gotten in that industry before you would purchase the template, and of course the fee, we would tell you that up front. But anyway, it's been a very popular product that we've been selling, that is finished campaign templates that work for certain industries, of which we tell you up front what the results would be from it. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great ad strategy for you then. See you later.